Engines idle low under wet steel. The convoy holds position in blackout conditions at 0204 hours. Visibility is under 100 yards. Red chem lights mark the last axle of the line. Captain Erin Locke stands beside the lead vehicle, visor down. Huddy reflection, glowing green across her face. Her convoy is halted a quarter-mile short of a disabled supply truck. Higher command has issued a bypass order. She reads the ground and does not like what she sees. Visibility drops under 100 yards. Dust moves low across the surface. The relief corridor runs silent, a single line of vehicles pushing aid through storm damage. Civilians are still trapped near that truck, confirmed by earlier thermal sighting. The decision window sits on her clock, ticking down. 9 minutes until the air asset must turn back. Every life in the corridor falls under her command. Signal integrity fluctuates again. Locke steadies her breathing and scans the soil. The patterns in the flood sediment are too clean, too consistent. Parallel lines across the shoulder look cut, not washed. She keys her radio and confirms the distance. 1/4 mile to the obstruction. Higher repeats. Bypass. And proceed. She hears it, but does not move. Fuel clock hits 9 minutes. She grips the mirror frame, watching dust drift past red silhouettes. Engines idle steady, and the radio hiss merges with faint rotor wash somewhere to the west. Midnight convoy, U.S. Army Relief Corridor. Locke studies the geometry again. The road curves, the slope narrows, the soil looks wrong. Command waits for her acknowledgement. The next call is hers, and she has not made it yet. Engines idle across the line. Dust shifts through narrow beams of headlight spill, catching on armor plates. Captain Erin Locke keeps her wrist chrono-visible, the faint digital beep marking 9 minutes remaining. Command is aware. The field is still waiting. Visibility remains limited under 100 yards. Satellite overlay shows the convoy route in pulsing red, a single relief corridor cutting through flood terrain. The data feed holds steady, the timer counting down in silence. A soft digital beep merges with the hum of engines, every sound measured and logged. Subscribe, comment your location. If you monitor these missions to understand how real command decisions unfold, this is your next one. Subscribe now, and say where you're listening from right now. The record continues. It is 0200 hours on Route 12, a coastal highway now serving as an Army relief corridor. Floodwater moves across the asphalt at knee depth, pushing debris against guardrails and vehicle tires. The convoy advances in blackout conditions under infrared strobes. Engines hum steady. Every driver keeps formation by instrument, not sight. The mission is clear. Recover a disabled supply truck and extract trapped civilians before water overtakes the route. Captain Erin Locke leads from the second vehicle, a reinforced transport designed for high water. She is the convoy commander, responsible for every operator, every asset, and every civilian on this stretch of road. 4 MRAPs form the core of the column, followed by 2 cargo haulers and 1 medical Humvee. Each vehicle carries assigned personnel by call roster and route segment. Above, an Air Force Special Tactics Detachment monitors the corridor through drone feed and relays data back to a temporary operations center inland. Signal quality drops below half on the command net. Inside Locke's cabin, light comes only from the map board and a blue chem stick taped to the clipboard. The route is traced in red grease pencil, each bend marked by a timing note. Rain beats against the windshield. Her driver, Staff Sergeant Wilkes, keeps both hands tight on the wheel as they move through standing water. Headlights stay dark. Only the IR strobes give movement reference to the next truck ahead. It is a controlled environment under extreme pressure. The convoy moves 100 yards at a time between debris breaks. Communication is minimal. Status calls, confirmation, spacing reports. The air smells of mud and diesel. Command feeds updates from the temporary TOC 20 miles inland. Orders travel by relay, and Locke knows every second of delay can change what the field needs to hear. Visibility falls under 100 yards. The disabled supply truck was last seen past a ridge of collapsed asphalt where the highway washed out 2 days earlier. Overhead imagery from earlier in the night showed a dark heat signature beside it. Possibly a van. Reports indicated civilians trapped. Still alive. The convoy's task is to recover both. Engineers cleared part of the route yesterday, but runoff reopened fractures. Locke keeps her focus on the road contour ahead. If the asphalt caves again, the entire formation could bog and lose extraction time. Drone feed stutters with static interference. The Air Force liaison patches through from above. Convoy Bravo. Progress confirmed. Ridge approach in 2 minutes. Locke acknowledges. Copy ridge approach. 2 minutes. Her tone stays level. The headset hums faintly from comm hiss. Somewhere above the cloud deck, the faint pulse of a rotor mixes with thunder rolling off the coast. She checks her watch. The medevac bird scheduled to cover this corridor has limited fuel. No more than 9 minutes of loiter once it arrives. Every call must align with that clock. Signal degradation continues on secondary net. Floodwater rises higher as the road curves left. The lead MR app slows. Brake lights reflecting red over the moving surface. Wilkes watches instruments and calls depth. 2 feet even. Locke nods. She glances at the map board. The disabled truck should be 150 yards ahead, on the outer shoulder. She keys transmit. Convoy Bravo. Reduce interval to 50 yards. Maintain spacing. No overtakes. The reply comes back clipped. Solid copy. Captain. Thunder blends with calm hiss and faint rotor pulse over the horizon. The convoy edges past downed light poles. Trees line both sides, stripped bare by wind and surge. Every few yards, floodwater eddies against debris, roof panels, signage, vehicle fragments. Locke keeps eyes forward, scanning under NVG for metallic shapes. A faint heat bloom appears on her tablet display. It flickers, then fades. She adjusts gain and locks on the coordinates. That's the truck. Nose down into collapsed pavement, tail angled toward the guardrail. Drone uplink stabilizes briefly, then drops. Locke keys to command. Convoy Bravo at visual of disabled vehicle, requesting authority to assess. Static carries the reply. Stand by for confirmation. The lead MRAP halts. The column follows. Rain intensifies, hitting armor and glass with constant pressure. Inside the cabin. Condensation drips along the edge of her face shield. She wipes it once with a gloved hand. Visibility remains 50 yards. She notes aloud for the log. Data link error recorded on TOC feed. Minutes pass with no further instruction. Air Force overhead confirms intermittent signal loss through cloud interference. The operations center transmits again. Convoy Bravo. Bypass authority pending risk assessment. Maintain position. Locke exchanges a glance with Wilkes. Pending means wait. He says quietly. Pending means stalled. She answers. Her tone is calm but final. She checks the time. 3 minutes have passed since first contact report. Civilians could still be alive in that van. Drone telemetry error persists across 3 channels. She zooms her tablet image on the wreck site. Even through noise, she can make out partial shape. Civilian transport van wedged against the guardrail, door frame visible above waterline. Her instincts tell her to move forward. Procedure tells her to wait. Command net opens again. Convoy Bravo. Do not approach until engineer verification. Route integrity unstable. Locke keys her mic. Negative copy. Civilians visible. I can assess without full dismount. The net stays silent. Signal quality drops to critical threshold. Locke keeps her voice even. Confirm delay. Over. The answer comes finally. Bypass order stands. Proceed to alternate checkpoint. The words cut through the static. Wilkes looks over. We leaving them. Locke's eyes stay on the screen. Command said bypass. She replies. She does not move. Every decision here carries record weight. Orders. Timestamps. Position logs. The chain of command is written in transmission order, but the liability sits with her in the field. Visibility holds at 50 yards and falling. Floodwater creeps higher around the tires. The medical Humvee holds at rearguard position. Gunners scan the ridgeline to the north. Lightning flashes once, lighting the corridor in pale white. The silhouette of the disabled truck is clear now. Nose buried, rear lifted, wheels still. Locke logs the coordinates and transmits again. Civilians confirmed at location. Request immediate authorization to assess and extract. The net returns only static. Command uplink drops below stable transmission level. Inside the cabin, the map board flickers from water hitting the chem stick. The blue glow reflects against her faceplate. She keeps her eyes steady on the forward route. Somewhere between what the TOC sees and what she sees, time and risk have split. The convoy waits under rain, engines idling low, field reality moving faster than orders can catch it. Locke exhales, slow and even. She knows what this means. The first fracture between oversight and truth has just appeared. Command prioritizes risk management over rescue. That's the moment she marks. Captain Erin Locke keeps the convoy halted under blackout. The rain has shifted to sleet. Water slaps against the wheel wells and creeps higher each minute. The radio net hums with partial static. She has reported civilians visible but receives only a standby notice from the Temporary Operations Center. The bypass order remains active. The trapped van rocks faintly against the guardrail. Signal strength drops below half on the command net. She checks her watch. 9 minutes until the medevac fuel window closes. The aircraft is holding offshore under instrument approach, waiting for a clear landing zone. She marks new coordinates on her wrist pad and sends them to higher. The acknowledgement tone returns, slow, delayed by interference. In the driver's seat, Staff Sergeant Wilkes adjusts the vehicle position to block current. Locke keeps her tone level. Hold here. Engine at idle. Maintain rear guard discipline. Visibility falls under 75 yards. The convoy behind her tightens spacing. Floodwater churns brown around their tires. The lead MRAP's taillights cut 2 dim red lines through the haze. Lightning rolls over the ridge to the north, exposing new debris on the slope. Locke keys her mic. Command. I have unstable terrain and visible civilians. Request authority to proceed with recovery. Static answers first. Then a calm male voice from Battalion Operations. Negative. Captain. Await engineer verification. She listens as the line breaks. Copy negative. The tone stays neutral. Her hands move automatically. Record log open. Audio feed active. Status entries clean. The small recorder indicator on her chest rig turns red. She knows every word transmitted from now on is evidence. Recorder light stays red on her chest rig. Outside, the rain builds into steady percussion on armor plating. The van ahead shifts again, one side submerged almost halfway. The metal groans in rhythm with the current. Locke leaves the cabin door open and steps into the water. Sleet beads on her visor. Her breath fogs in the cold air. Gunner 1. White light off. Maintain cover sector north. Wilkes. Prep winch. They move without question. Discipline over doubt. Command uplink latency exceeds 10 seconds. She moves to the winch mount. The steel cable unspools, humming under tension, slicing through the surface of the flood. It glints under IR reflection as droplets scatter away. The sound is steady, controlled, a simple mechanical truth. Cable clear. Wilkes confirms. Locke nods once and signals him to hold position. She looks to the ridge again. The slope is darker now, heavy with runoff. The channel above it has shifted since first survey. Visibility falls under 60 yards. She cycles to the Air Force Overwatch frequency. Overwatch. Confirm visual north slope. The answer comes delayed and distorted. Captain, our feed's degraded. Getting interference spikes. Could be weather. Could be deliberate. She replies. Copy. Keep scanning. The line cuts again in static. She notes the time allowed for the record. 02:15 hours. Uplink unstable. She rechecks the civilians. Two shapes move behind fogged glass. She lifts one hand in reassurance they cannot see but knows it matters. Behind her, the convoy gunners rotate slowly, scanning with night optics. Outer cordon formed. One reports. She replies, "Hold tight. No discharge unless fired upon." It is not combat posture. It is procedural containment. Signal strength holds at 30% and falling. The van's roof begins to dip as the bank erodes. Locke measures distance, 40 yards from her position. She can reach it on foot if current holds. The operations center calls again. "Captain Locke, maintain convoy integrity. The risk tolerance on civilian recovery is exceeded. Engineers are en route." She answers evenly. "Acknowledged. 2 hours estimated arrival." The reply comes back. "Correct." She checks her chrono. They don't have 2 minutes. Medevac window shrinks to 6 minutes. Her tone does not change. "Command, this is Bravo Actual. Request time on station extension for medevac support." The pilot answers directly on secondary frequency. "Captain, we're burning hold fuel. I can give 4 more minutes max before bingo." Locke confirms. "Understood. 4 minutes." She keys to convoy internal channel. "Mark current depth and stand by for cable tension on my call." Drone feed blanked by persistent interference. She moves back to the cabin and updates her tablet. The terrain model flickers. Jagged lines where the ridge image should be. Data link unstable. The device reads. She logs it by voice ridge imagery corrupted, attempting manual verification. Another lightning flash reveals parallel grooves cutting down the slope. Tire tracks too clean to be runoff. She narrows her eyes. "Command, do you have any patrol elements North Corridor tonight?" The reply is quick. "Negative. That sector's clear." She studies the angle again. Says nothing. Water depth exceeds 24 inches at convoy midpoint. Inside the vehicle, Wilkes glances at her. Engine strains climbing. "Hold throttle steady," she answers. No wheel spin. The convoy stays locked in position. The hum of diesel mixes with sleet drumming on the hull. Every sound blends into one continuous vibration. The van ahead tilts further. Metal creaks under hydrostatic pressure. Locke's hands are steady as she logs each observation. Van frame buckling. Left side submerged. 2 occupants responsive. Lightning flashes again across the ridge. She counts 3 seconds before thunder. Distance. Under a mile. Drone telemetry lost across command frequency. Locke's radio pops once and clears. Battalion operations returns. "Captain, your feed shows cable deployment. Confirm you are holding position." She responds. "Holding. But vehicle ahead is degrading. Reconfirm clearance to recover." The answer is colder now. "Negative recovery." That's an order. She repeats it verbatim for the recorder. Received negative recovery order at 02:17 hours. The red light on her rig stays solid. Recorder continues active logging. She closes the cabin door to block sleet. The sound of the storm outside is muted now. Only the rumble of engines and faint alarm tone from her tablet breaking through. The screen flashes warning medevac fuel low. She silences it manually. The tone cuts to a short chirp and stops. She takes one breath and reopens internal comms. "All vehicles maintain cordon. Begin prepping tow line secondary. Do not move until I call go." Her team acknowledges in sequence. Every response crisp, professional, without question. Fuel clock hits 5 minutes. The radio hisses again with partial speech. "Captain, this is operations. You are not cleared for..." The transmission cuts. She logs. Command communication lost mid-transmission. She looks out again through the windshield. Rain freezes along the glass edges. The ridge remains barely visible beyond white sleet. She removes one glove to adjust focus on her NVG lens. Through static flicker, she sees faint glints where no debris should reflect. Spaced intervals. Metallic symmetry. Her tone stays even. Possible surface disturbance North Ridge. Monitoring. Visibility falls under 50 yards. Behind her, The winch cable hums under minimal tension. One of her Marines signals thumbs up. They wait in silence, heads down against sleet. Locke rechecks her medevac timer. 4 minutes remaining. She says it aloud for the recorder. Fuel cutoff. 4 minutes remaining. The words sound flat in the cold air. Her hand rests on the winch control. She could pull them now. But the order still says, hold. Procedure binds her to restraint, even as risk rises. Command net degradation reaches critical. The van rocks again. One rear tire lifts clear of the ground. Locke can hear civilians shouting faintly through glass and rain. She moves closer to the door, knees brushing current. Her radio crackles once more. Talk repeating prior orders. Maintain distance. Engineers will handle recovery. She gives the same measured reply. Solid copy. Holding position. She knows the recording captures tone, not emotion. Medevac window shrinks to 3 minutes. Air Force Overwatch tries again. Captain, we've lost your image feed completely. We're reading jamming across band. She acknowledges. Copy. Jamming confirmed. Continue scanning on secondary. She returns to her log. Unidentified interference persists. Possible local source. Her voice remains steady, the words clean and exact. Around her, every Marine maintains position. Silent professionals trained to hold under friction. Signal to command intermittent and unrecoverable. The current strengthens. Water now reaches the lower edge of the door frame. Locke steadies herself with one hand on the mirror mount. The rain has turned fully to sleet, slicing sideways in the wind. Visibility narrows even more, 40 yards at best. She calls internal net. Cordon, intact. The answer comes. Affirmative. All sectors covered. She replies, maintain. The van frame groans louder, a metal stress note sharp enough to cut through the storm. It sounds like a warning. Recorder logs environmental stress peak at 0219 hours. Locke takes a final glance at the ridge. The faint shapes there have not moved, but something about the alignment stays wrong. Too uniform, too precise. She zooms NVG gain higher and sees the smallest reflection shift. A flicker, a hint of motion. Her heartbeat does not change. She lowers the goggles slightly and keys transmit. Command. I have potential movement north slope. Request confirmation. The answer returns half lost. Negative. Sector remains clear. She listens, waiting for clarity. The van door bends inward with a dull snap. Water surges through the crack. Locke exhales once, marking it all for record. Civilian vehicle integrity failing. Awaiting confirmation. Her radio spits static. Command repeats bypass order still in effect. She looks again toward the ridge, then at her Marines waiting under rain. The situation holds, but only barely. She tightens her grip on the door handle. Visibility now under 40 yards. Control is seconds from braking. That is where this moment stops. Rain turns heavy and cold across the corridor. The floodwater carries a steady current against the wheels. Captain Erin Locke studies the ridge through night optics. The slope shows faint mud tracks converging toward the convoy's center. They arc inward from 2 directions. The pattern is deliberate. She lowers her NVGs, steady voice on the net. Convoy Bravo. All stop. Maintain blackout. Visibility drops under 80 yards in the rain. The tablet feed from command still shows a clean sector. Locke knows it is outdated by minutes. The delay has become its own threat. She calls to battalion operations. Recommend overwatch shift to ridge north. Possible movement. The answer is calm, but wrong. Negative. Our feed shows clear. She notes the time and transmits again. Copy. Standing by. She is not standing by. She is already adjusting geometry. Rangefinder sweep flashes once from the ridge. Locke turns to Wilkes. Floodlights off. Gunner 1. Dismount 30 yards west. Place IR beacon halfway to the bridge. Move low. No noise. The Marine nods and moves out through sleet and shallow water. She watches his form blur into darkness, then fade. Completely the convoy stays silent. Rain hits armor and helmets with mechanical rhythm. The winch cable vibrates in current, a quiet hum under everything else. Recorder light stays solid red on her chest rig. She radios her gunner's return. Beacon placed. The signal tone confirms. Locke checks her compass heading, aligns her line of sight. All stations. Orient on beacon half right. Weapons tight until contact confirmed. She keys her mic to battalion again. Request visual verification. North slope. Repeat. Possible threat movement. The reply repeats. Negative movement detected. Maintain position. Command channel repeats negative confirmation. Locke breathes steady. The van door behind her flexes under water pressure. The civilians are inside. Quiet now. She keeps her rifle angled down, not as threat but as posture. Control through stillness. The clock in her wrist display blinks. Medevac 2 minutes out. Wilkes. Mark landing zone east of beacon. Use green smoke when I call it. He nods, prepping the canister under cover. Every motion measured. Rotor noise rises, medevac inbound at 2 minutes. Then movement. 3 silhouettes break from the ridge, closing through rain toward the false beacon. They carry rifles slung forward, cautious, confident in darkness. Locke keys her mic. Contact north. 3 targets, moving on beacon. She lifts her hand to the gunner. Engage controlled bursts. 2 short series of shots cut through the storm. Rain muffles the percussion, each burst tight and contained. 1 figure drops. The others turn and run downslope. Visibility falls to 60 yards under sleet. Locke signals ceasefire. Hold. No pursuit. The van shudders again. She checks the civilians. 1 injured, 1 mobile. Stay low, she tells them. Bird inbound. Her radio clicks with Air Force traffic. Convoy Bravo. This is medevac 2 minutes out. Need cold zone. Locke replies. Zone hot. Standby green smoke. She keys her internal channel. Wilkes. Mark east of flare. Now. The canister ignites. Smoke drifting across rain. Green smoke marker active at 50 yards. The airframe arrives low. Rotor surge flattening tall grass and floodwater. Downwash whips sleet against the vehicles. Locke motions to the medic. Casualty first. Secure sling. The injured Marine from earlier is pulled toward the helicopter. Gunfire cracks again from the ridge. Erratic. Uncoordinated. Locke doesn't return fire. She shifts position behind the engine block and tracks heat signatures. The ambushers have moved too close to their own buried charges. She holds the mic. All elements. Hold fire. Echo of rifle bursts against the ridgeline. Seconds later, a single detonation rolls across the slope. The hillside flashes white, then dark. She waits for the sound to fade before speaking. Contact neutralized by self-detonation. Maintain perimeter. Her voice stays even. The medevac crew loads the second casualty. Civilian with shock signs. And lifts. Rotor wash pushes rain sideways. The convoy stays locked in formation. Lights off. Engines steady. Discipline under noise. Visibility now under 50 yards. Command uplink unstable. Locke reports upward. Battalion. Hostile movement confirmed North Ridge. Engaged controlled fire. Contact cleared. Civilians extracted. Static fills the reply. Then the familiar voice returns. Formal now. Captain, your deviation is noted. Await full report. She answers evenly. Copy. Deviation logged. She looks down at the recorder still flashing red. The evidence trail is complete. Coordinates. Transmissions. Voice entries. Recorder log remains active with confirmed entries. She checks her Marines. Any wounded negative. 1 answers. The winch cable still hums in the floodwater. The disabled truck remains in place but stable. Locke keeps focus on the ridge. No further heat blooms appear through the optics. The rain eases slightly. Sleet mixing with fog. The ridge smoke drifts down, blurring the edge between water and land. Convoy Bravo. Maintain ready posture until air clear. She orders. Range now clear within 100 yards. Her radio hisses as the pilot calls back. Bird outbound with civilians and 1 casualty aboard. Fuel critical. Returning to base. Locke acknowledges. Copy. Safe flight. She logs the timestamp, then toggles channel. Command. This is Convoy Bravo Actual. Recovery complete. Corridor secure. Request extraction of remaining personnel when feasible. The reply is delayed but audible. Received. Stand by for redeployment instruction. Rotor wash fades behind the corridor. Locke kneels beside the van door. Checks the structure. Frame compromised. Mark for recovery crew. Her gloves scrape cold metal slick with mud. The water level has started to fall by inches. She rises, stretching her back, the red recorder light still fixed on her chest rig. Behind her, the convoy stands motionless, headlights off, only IR strobes blinking faint green across the flooded road. Visibility improves to 70 yards as rain lightens. The net opens again. Captain Locke, confirm you are no longer under contact. She replies, affirmative. Contact ended. Area cooling. She knows every word is on record. Wilkes moves beside her, helmet tilted against drizzle. Bird's clear, he says quietly. She nods. So are we. The discipline holds even now. No celebration. No talk of outcome. The mission continues until formally closed. Reversal. Ambush flipped. Locke calls final transmission. Command. This is Bravo Actual. Convoy secure. Extraction complete. No further contact. There is silence for several seconds. Then the operations officer's voice returns. Deliberate and measured. Captain Locke, your deviation from bypass order is recorded for review. She answers. Understood. Sir. Recorder feed available for audit. The tone remains even. Send copy with after action file. She presses transmit once more. Already transmitting. Command logs field deviation for formal evaluation. The flood corridor is quiet again except for residual rain. Rotor sound fades to the east. The ridge glows faintly under overcast lightning. Mud tracks still visible through NVG green. Locke looks down at her rig. The red light on the recorder continues steady. Documenting closure. She keys one last message for record. Convoy Bravo secure. Civilians recovered. Personnel accounted for. All transmissions complete. The operation is over, but the evidence stays live. Field success confirmed. Oversight remains in motion. Dawn breaks gray over the relief corridor. The floodwater drains slowly toward the culverts. Engines idle once, then shut down one by one. The convoy hulls steam under the new light. Captain Erin Locke stands beside her vehicle, helmet off, gloves wet. Her voice stays level as she reads back the mission time log for the recorder, closing every line with confirmation. Upload speed drops under 1 megabyte per second. She moves to the makeshift table set up beside the command truck. Paperwork sticks to her sleeves. The report form is half soaked, ink drying in streaks. She rewrites the summary by hand, matches the coordinates, and verifies the timestamps. Every transmission is cross-checked with recorder data. The small red indicator on her rig now blinks green, signaling data transfer complete. Convoy comms return to full strength. Locke removes her name tape from the uniform and places it on the desk. The motion is deliberate. Her after-action packet sits under a clear cover sheet marked pending review. She signs her name in block letters, adds the time, and scans it into the terminal. The printer beside her feeds the final copy with a steady mechanical hum. The faint sound of a helicopter echoes farther down the corridor, fading into distance. Operations board acknowledges receipt of data. Water drips from the underside of her gear onto the concrete floor. The lights inside the temporary operations tent flicker once, then steady. She uploads the last audio log, pauses, and confirms file integrity. Her voice in the record remains even, unedited. Convoy, Bravo, secure, Civilians recovered. All personnel accounted for. Report filed, 0600 hours. The printer feed hum blends with fading rotor echo and soft rain against the hulls. The flood has cleared, the route is open, and the record is complete. Discipline, in her world, means precision with purpose. Nothing more, and nothing less. Floodwater mirrors the convoy lights across the corridor. The medevac sits 30 yards away, engines cooling, interior lights dim. Captain Erin Locke stands beside her vehicle, reviewing the recorded order on her tablet. Bypass confirmed. Civilians marked as non-recoverable. The same order she chose to ignore. Her decision brought survivors home and placed her under formal review. Doctrine measures both outcomes the same way command followed, or command challenged. Recorder indicator remains steady at red. The screen shows the frozen timestamp from 0219 hours. Evidence logged, deviation documented. Command calls it an infraction. Field personnel call it judgment under pressure. The rain has stopped, but the reflection stays. Vehicles, waterline, and one recorded choice still active in the system. A single heartbeat echo fades into quiet, audible through the headset feed. Follow orders or save lives. 2 lawful actions. Both carry cost. State your decision in the comments. Dawn light spreads across the flooded highway. The convoy remains parked in shallow water. Engines quiet, surfaces reflecting pale sky. Captain Erin Locke's report is sealed and transmitted through official channels. The investigation confirms the ambush geometry, the jamming source, and the 12 lives saved under her command. Every element of the record aligns with the timestamps she filed in real time. Drone footage confirms full extraction logged at 0630 hours. The site now stands silent except for the hum of equipment powering down. Archive data transfers to central storage, each file marked verified and complete. The low drone sound fades into a single soft data upload ping. The mission ends as it began, under discipline, under record, and under watch. Next mission queued. Like and subscribe to remain accounted for. The next operation is already waiting, documented and ready for review.